Hey, 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 family. This is Courtney Michelle, your Renaissance Belle. Doing something a little different. As you can see, I have a special guest. I wanted to do something special because, you know, he started me on my journey, and I think a lot of people don't really know him. And I have been blessed to get to know him a little bit more. And he has surprised me with his humor and the gift of gab. So let's talk about him. It is Lapeef, JR.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we gonna use those? Are we doing that tonight?
Hey, why not?
Why not? Okay. So I wanted to bring you on because I wanted to talk to you a little bit more. I think no one really knows you. Like you're just like the man hidden. So I wanted to talk to you to so people can get to know you a little bit more.
Okay, let's do it.
So let's do it. Let's dig a little deeper. So I told you when I started, I was a complete fan. I'm not sure how I got into, you know, um, the channel, but when I did, I just loved it. And I was like, well, first of all, what in the world is a Lapeef?
Is that a question for me?
What is Lapeef? It's an interesting name.
So Lapeef is my middle name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a name. Growing up, I hated the name. I mean, just sound funny. Lapeef,
Mm-hmm.
Peef. You know what is it? It wasn't a regular middle name. But how I embraced it was actually Lapeef is a brand as well. It's my clothing brand. So it
Mm-hmm.
started off as Free Fall Clothing, and then I found out that Free Fall Clothing was trademarked. So that was one of the failures that I won't say failure, but it's a lesson learned. If you do start a business, make sure that you trademark in the beginning and then do the business. So
Okay.
what I did was I did the business
Yeah.
first, and then I tried to trademark. That was taken, and so I needed another name. And then Lapeef popped in my head, and I said, you know what? I'm going to embrace the name. So it took years later, me as an adult, to want to embrace that name. So Lapeef um, became the brand.
Okay.
It was a clothing brand. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to do a lot of things up under that name. I want to kind of have like an umbrella. So the podcast was actually a vision. Um, and I'm
Yeah.
probably answering questions
Yeah, I
way
know. Well,
ahead.
let's go back. Let's go back because you saying a whole lot of stuff. So let's go
Yeah,
back. So you, where you from? Chicago.
from Chicago,
Okay, born and raised.
born and raised, South
Got
Side,
it.
low end. The
Okay.
PCs, Prairie Courts. It's gone now, but for my Chicago people, y'all
Yeah.
know what it
Okay.
is.
'Cause I don't know nothing about that. That's okay. But okay. So you start because I know that the clothing line, did that start first or did the podcast start first?
The clothing line started first.
So let's go back on that.
Mhm.
So you're a designer.
I am a designer.
Well, where in how'd you start that and where did that come from? Like y- you know, you designing clothes. How'd that start?
It actually started. I just like to create. Let me start off by saying that I
Hmm.
like to create, and I like to see a finished product, and I just like to just look at it. You know, just see it, just admire it, and be like, man, look what I've done. So,
Yeah.
um, clothing actually started. It was my cousin. He was into fashion, and
Hmm.
so my other cousin and I wanted to support the cousin that was into fashion. And so
Hmm.
what I did was I did all the legwork. I mean, I actually started the business, made it to a LLC. I got a sale tax ID number. I just set up the whole business structure. And
Okay.
so what I was telling them was that, hey, um, this is a business that could potentially grow big. I believe in it, and we can
Hmm.
actually quit our jobs. So we need to make sure we take this serious. seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the only one taking it seriously. So I gave them maybe like a couple months and I said, you know what, if these guys don't get it together, I'm just going to just branch off. And that's what I did. I branched off. I didn't want to give up on it because I had put so much time and effort into, building it. So I changed the name um, to Free Fall Clothing, and I just started creating.
Okay.
And
Mhm.
I kind of want to add a little bit on it. So at the time, I know screen print is a big deal when people think of clothing line, but I wanted to get a little bit more custom with it. Shout out to uh, Rich God from Houston
Mhm.
because I was following him heavy, and I was intrigued how he would customize anything, how everything that he made, it was kind of like one of 10, like one of
Mhm.
12. So that's what got me wanting to get into the cut and sew. I wanted to create fabrics that people couldn't find everywhere.
Mhm.
So I did screen print, but I also did cut and sew.
So you were doing that yourself.
Um, Starting off, no. I
Okay.
was looking for seamstress, but
Mhm.
with any business, you can't have people doing the work and you don't have the knowledge.
Okay.
So, like I did reach out to a few people, and I stumbled across these brothers from Chicago. They're actually much younger than me, and I did get some sewing lessons. I paid them.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, because I had to know what I was talking about and what I was
Right.
looking for when it came to uh, cut and sew.
Mhm.
I had no idea about patterns. I had no idea about sewing. I had no idea about how much fabric I needed.
Hmm.
So what I did was I did my homework. I had to become a student. And then
Mhm.
once I became a student, then it's like, okay, now I know what I'm looking for because I was walking in, I flew to LA just by myself. I was GP. I met up with this guy I had been talking with that somebody linked together. I flew out there and it was just like a total disaster. And when he took me to this company and they manufacture clothing, but when I was sitting in there, I just felt dumb. I felt like
Mhm.
that I didn't know anything. I didn't know what they were talking about. And when they were asking me questions, I couldn't answer them. I couldn't answer them. So that moment right there was like a teachable moment. It was like, Jay, you don't know nothing,
Mhm.
and the look on their face showed that this Negro don't know anything. So So it was one of the moments like, man, I got to learn the craft. I mean, I can't just hop into this cut and sew to this fashion if I don't know anything about it.
Right. Okay. So you learned, and then you obviously, doing that. I've obviously, I follow you,
Hmm.
and the clothing line is super dope.
Hmm.
So you're still doing that, correct?
I'm still doing it, but it's been kind of put on the back burner. I've
Uh-huh.
been putting a lot of focus into the podcast,
Got it.
but I have been working it, just not as heavily as I was.
Got it. Okay. So, all right, well, let's talk about the podcast.
Let's do it.
Where in the world was the idea from going to fashion to a podcast? How
So
did that happen?
yeah. So remember when I just said not too long ago, I wanted to have a few things. I wanted to have certain things up under this umbrella of Lapeef.
Mhm.
Once I embraced Lapeef, I say, that name is just unique, it's classy.
Mhm.
People think it's
Mhm.
French, it's not French. According to my auntie,
What is it?
she got it out of an African book and it stood for brave warrior. That's
Okay.
to be determined because I did some research and homework and I couldn't find nothing on it. But we just gonna roll with that. So if anybody asks me what Lapeef means, it's my
Strong
middle name,
warrior.
but it's also means brave warrior.
Right.
So
Okay.
it is what it is. But um, I had actually reached out to somebody and I had an idea for a logo. I said I wanted to do a podcast and I
Mhm.
wanted it to be called Lapeef Let's Talk.
Okay.
And so I was sitting on it for had to be about 9 months to a year before
Mhm.
I actually started doing it. I usually come up with an idea. I usually put the blueprint together and
Mhm.
then I sit on it. But as I stated before, once I start something, I have to finish it.
Right.
So, I mean, that's where the podcast originated from.
So, when did you start the podcast? How long has it been?
I kind of lost track a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to say roughly it's probably been about, before you guys know what it is today, probably about a year and a half.
A year and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
And who are the original people?
So, the original was me. Um, I
Okay. Mhm.
I was the original,
Okay.
but what I realized was that at the time I couldn't see myself, tackling it by myself. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, one of my other guys, which you guys may know as Gino Black, I reached out to him, and me and Gino Black talked, and we talked about putting the podcast together, and um, it was going to be Lapeef Let's Talk. So it was still my idea. He came on with it, and we started doing some recording. It was
Mm-hmm.
just audio only.
Okay. What was the purpose of the podcast? Did you have a mind frame of this podcast? I want to
We
talk about this. What was the purpose?
we didn't have a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
My idea my vision of the podcast was that I didn't want a niche. I wanted to be able to discuss anything that I wanted to talk about, whether it was politics, finance, relationships,
Mm-hmm.
marriages, whatever you name it. It's Lapeef Let's Talk. So that's the reason why the Let's Talk didn't really zero in on anything in particular. It's just like let's talk.
Yeah. Okay. So it was you and Gino,
Mhm.
and it was audio. So
Mhm.
then when did you decide to move to visual? And when did you, create your first group of folks? Where they come from,
Okay,
especially
so
where
um,
Anton come from?
well, that's a little down the tree, but I
Okay, go
still
ahead.
got a
I'm
little bit more
waiting.
story to tell. Yeah,
Okay.
so it's me and Gino. We at his crib just doing audio only. I wanted to do video, I just didn't know how to do it.
Mhm.
So when I say how to do it, meaning that I had to first get comfortable speaking in the mic and being
Mhm.
able to um, make sense in what we was talking about. We was
Mhm.
all over the place. I was looking for certain things, and when me and Gino was doing it, I'm like, you know what? This is probably not gonna work. And it wasn't that we couldn't do it. It was more so I was thinking about how people might perceive it. Like it could be better than this.
Mhm.
And so that's when I thought about my guy B Nix. So let me break down how I know B Nix. I've been
I
knowing
don't
B Nix.
care.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't care.
There you go.
Right.
So me and B Nix, I met B Nix in college. Went to the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign.
Mhm.
B Nix went to high school with my cousins and my friend, and a couple of my friends. They like a grade under me. And
Mhm.
so when B Nix came down to U of I, um, we was all like roommates. We was all roommates at one
You were
point in
roommates with
time.
B next?
Yeah, yeah. It was me,
Wow.
B Nix, my cousin Terry, and my cousin Shad. So we was
Mhm.
all roommates. And so I've been knowing B Nix since probably like 2002.
Mhm.
Kind of fast forward, like me and B Nix always remain cool. Um, he's family, and I'm also his son's godfather. So that's just how close me and B Nix is. So I had
Okay.
already knew B Nix personality. So
Yeah.
I felt as though B Nix would be a great addition to the podcast.
Mhm.
And he was. One thing about B Nix is that he's firm in what he says and he stands on what he says. And
Mhm.
he's also hilarious. He's a great dude, great for the community, very intelligent. And I just watched his growth, man. So, B Nix, I felt that B Nix would take us to a different level, in which he did. So we started doing the podcast. We was on Apple, Spotify, um, Google, whatever platform is out there. I made sure that we were streaming on all platforms
Mhm.
except for YouTube because of course it's just audio.
Right.
You want me to continue with the story?
Go ahead. I'm letting you rock.
Okay. So yeah, so we doing audio only. We kind of tempered around with video. I took my camera to Gino house because that's what we was recording out of. And Gino, we kind of tampered with the video, came out okay. And Gino suggested, because this was Gino's idea, so I had to give him credit, that we started a Facebook group. So
Oh, he was
yeah.
he was the mastermind of this infamous
Yeah,
Denny.
it was his idea. Now
Okay.
I had hopped off of Facebook. I was in Facebook when you could only get it when you was in college. So
Oh, yeah, that's
I hopped on
so
Facebook. Somebody put me on Facebook in college. I hopped on and then I was off of it for like five or 6 years.
Mhm.
So I hopped back on the Facebook for this Facebook group. I said, okay, you know what? Why not? Let's try it. I always like to try things out. And if it work, it work. If it don't, it don't. So we started the Facebook group and then we started to upload the audio portions or the links or something like that so that the Facebook group grew. It was growing. It was, 200 or 300 people at the time. We was just thrilled with that, like 200, 300 people rocking with us. So that's how that started. And it was just doing audio.
Okay. So when did you decide to do it visual? And when you did the visual, was it just you three?
hmm Um, so when I was listening to the podcast, when people were listening to the podcast, a couple people told me, "Oh, you guys need a female voice."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "We don't need no female voice. We need a female voice for it's all men." I've seen successful men podcasts. I know that men can do it. It's a man point of view,
Yeah.
and you're not gonna force a woman's perspective within this podcast. So it was just kind of like, but then I thought about it. I was looking in the group and I seen that Tawana was real active. And something that I do look at is I do look at looks. I look at looks and I look at personality. And I'm looking to see if people are marketable, as well as talent. So those are things that I do look at when I look at people and seeing if they'd be a good fit. So the men I didn't really care about. I'm not really looking at the men, but I felt like if I brought a woman, I wanted the woman that was going to command some attention. So what
So
people
she had to be
don't,
pretty.
she got to be pretty. Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
what I thought about, I see you caught that compliment, but
I was doing it to me.
so what people don't know about Tawana is that me and Tawana went to grammar school together. She's about 2 grades under me. So, me and Tawana talked, but we didn't talk like that, but we talked. And then we also wound up going to college together. She wound up coming down there. I was a junior. She came in as a freshman. So, yeah, she was in college too. So, we spoke, we talked, but she was real active in a group. So, no, you know what? I messed up. Okay. Carmen was the first test. Carmen.
Oh, it's another. Okay.
Yeah. So if you guys go way back into the videos, you'll see a young lady by the name of Carmen, and we went to college together. She went to college with me and B Nix as well, and Tawana. So we brought her on the show, and yeah, we rocked out. It was a decent episode, and that's what actually got my attention. Was like, you know what, having a woman is not too bad. I mean, it was pretty cool. And I think Carmen might have came on again. But one thing about a podcast and the podcast that I was doing was that you had to be dedicated. I mean, it's not really easy to do a podcast every single week and having everybody in line, because guess what? This was my baby and it wasn't everybody else's baby. So one thing that I can say is that for the most part, Gino was active. B Nick was a little bit more active and like, come on, let's rock out. So I think Carmen had a few things going on. She entertained it a little bit, but if I can remember, I think that she was just like, just kind of faded off. It wasn't really like
Mhm.
she said she wouldn't do it. And then that's when Tawana came on, and
Okay.
and and Tawana loved it. So I think we just kept bringing Tawana back, and then next thing you know, Tawana's on. So to answer your question about as far as when we do video, we started going live, which is video, only within the Facebook group. Only within the Facebook group.
Okay.
So we still not on YouTube. So we went video only within the Facebook group, and we just
Mhm.
kind of built that up and rocked out.
And it grew.
It was growing. I mean, we had people. It was more personal. It was more
Okay.
personal then. We didn't really have too many outside strangers, or we had very few, or we can kind of see, who these people are because we see them in a group. So it
Was it
was
more
just,
local, just Chicago folks?
it
Because
wasn't, I won't say that. I mean, it was more personal and close only because it might have been people that lived in Chicago and that don't live in Chicago anymore, or it might have
Mhm.
been friends of friends. And
Okay.
so it was still personal. We recognized the people when they came on, and it was cool.
Okay. So then that's where it started. So it was you, B Nix, Tawana, and was it Gino still?
Mm,
Or he
yeah.
kind of dropped. Okay.
It was actually, I'm trying to think. I feel like it's been so long ago, but it hasn't been. But
Right, because this is
um,
only a year and a half ago.
yeah, it was me, Gino, and I believe Tawana.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me when Gino dropped off and then you had the infamous Anton Daniels come on.
So Anton. Actually,
Go Anton.
yeah, shout out to Anton. But I met Anton online. Online. We was
Hmm.
complete strangers. Actually I stumbled across some of his videos on his original channel, and it was kind of motivational. They was cool. That
Hmm.
was just fun to watch. And that's when I think I started looking at different YouTube videos. I kind of looked at YouTube as like, my audible book.
Hmm.
So I would actually listen to videos and just tapping around. And I
Yeah.
think that we really connected because at the time he had a Jeep Wrangler and I had a Jeep Wrangler. And so we had some Jeep talk, just like a little small talk. Fast forward, Anton, I guess he was kind of watching what I was doing.
Hmm.
I guess via social media, um, and maybe on Facebook. He was kind of watching what I was doing. And if you know Anton does his research. He's a person that when he wants to find out information, he
He knows it
researches
all.
people. He researches, which a
Hmm.
lot of people do, but Anton in particular, he was researching me, and I had no idea. So Anton, I think I asked him about stocks, and so we had set up a time to have a phone conversation about stocks.
Hmm.
And Anton was a real cool dude, man. He wound up giving me some gems, a lot of gems that day. We was on the phone for about an hour and 20 minutes,
Hmm.
and I didn't. It wasn't rushed. Um, he answered all my questions, and he said, "You know what, man? It's my personal number. Anything you want to know, anything you need, anything that I failed at that can assist you, I want just hit me up and I'll just give you the
Yeah.
game on it." So
I
that's
think, go
go ahead.
ahead. Well, no, I was saying that I think that's something that, he says it, but it's honest. Like Anton, he's just, I'll let you know. He's just wants people to succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
yeah, that's him. He's like, I'll get you, I'll put you on the game.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like he definitely left an impression because I spoke
Hmm.
about it to other people about, I said, man, this guy, because you don't really know too many people. At least I don't know, at least where I'm
Hmm.
from, that's willing to get information. You
Yeah.
got this complete stranger that wanted to assist me by giving me information that he knows that would benefit me. So
Hmm.
I appreciated that. And then fast forward some more, we had conversations. He was like, "Yeah, you want me to come on one day? Just let me know. I'll come on."
Hmm.
He's like, "I think you got something real special here." and I support. I drop some gems, whatever you need from me. So I brought Anton on, and the first time I brought Anton on, the people went crazy. Not in a good way.
Oh, so they were angry.
It was a bad way. So when Anton tell you he
Oh,
was public enemy number one,
was it?
he was public enemy number one. He
Well,
was
why?
because the things that he said, and I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but it was like we were saying things, and he was the complete opposite of what
Mhm.
everybody was saying. Not particularly me, but just his stance,
Mhm.
things, his experiences, what he was saying, his values when it came to politics and just everything.
Mhm.
So people I hate Anton. I can't stand him. And it's still to this day some people that can't stand him. But what I found is that the people that don't like him are people that don't really want to hear the truth
Mm.
for most instances. So
Mhm.
um, that's what I later discovered. My sister tells me she can't stand Anton. But again, hey, she don't want to hear the truth. And
Yeah.
that's
And
just the
I know
reality of the
some people like,
situations.
"Anton, I don't know how to take him."
Right,
Like,
yeah.
he's really, you love him or hate him kind of person sometimes, I think,
Yeah.
but he's
But
consistent.
but the more you heard him speak and the more you heard him outside of the show,
Mhm.
um, people they would hear like bits and pieces. Like, I typically don't like what Anton's saying, but he was on point on that one. And
Mhm.
then fast forward some more, and then it's like, okay, Anton be on it. So I think either people love Anton or they hate Anton to this day.
Yeah, like I
But
said, it's a love or
yeah.
hate. Yeah.
So I
Okay.
mean, it's the crew.
So then you had the
Anton,
crew.
yeah, we had Anton,
Anton, B
B
Nix,
Nix,
Tawana, and
Tawana,
you.
and me. And then Gino kind of at that time, and I can't remember exactly when, he kind of fell off a little bit because he had a lot of things that was going on outside
Mhm.
of there. So I wouldn't say that he quit. It was more so he had other things going on. But also, I don't honestly don't believe, and we had a conversation about it, so I can speak on it now, is that the vision that he had when it came to a podcast
Mhm.
wasn't the same as mine. So, I mean, he was more about um, kind of like, financial videos, entrepreneur
Mhm.
type videos and helping. And I was just like, because I always looked at analytics. And so even when the Spotify, Apple was
Mhm.
just strictly audio, I said, man, if you look at what's going on, people like relationships.
Mhm.
They like marriage. I mean, I'll talk about anything, but based off what people been watching and what's been hidden and popping, people like this relationship talk. So, and then I remember me and B Nix was like, man, people want to hear relationships. Let's talk about relationships.
Yeah.
So that's how we kind of geared towards talking about relationships.
Okay. So then he came off, and then you had the crew.
Mm-hmm.
Now I remember your picture still on IG of y'all going to town in Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
and y'all had. Was that the first time that you guys were all meeting up?
Yeah. So that was the first time we were
Okay.
supposed
And
to
how'd that
meet.
go?
We were supposed to meet a month prior to that.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm gonna probably say some things that hasn't been revealed, but it's the Courtney Michelle show, so why
Come
not?
on. Let me get my popcorn.
No, get your popcorn. I
Hey.
ain't say don't get that juicy now,
Um,
but we were supposed what people don't understand is that it's not easy being in the position of where we were at that time and even where we are right now. And
mhm.
that's a later conversation. But people got their personal lives going on, and
Mhm.
then they have this so-called commitment. I was 100% committed, 1,000% committed. And
Yeah.
one thing I can say about Anton is that he's always been 1,000% committed, and B Nix,
Mhm.
and B Nix. Tawana was committed, but women are emotional. So we had a little situation where we was gonna meet, but then we had a few incidents, and it was with Tawana in particular, where there
What
was
was that?
conversation.
What the what?
Just there was a time where, see, I think you're trying to get a little bit too
Hey, come
like you
on.
fishing, man. You sound like
Right,
Wendy Williams
I'm
right now. I feel like I'm
just
on a Wendy Williams show.
say it all. What happened?
So we had a situation where Tawana, I think Tawana couldn't really figure out her role on the show. And
Okay.
so sometimes we have a great show, and then we would get like random text messages or like group messages because we had a group chat.
Mhm.
And just like every week it was something. Every week it was something. And so,
Well,
Anton was the what you about to ask?
okay, what do you mean? It was something. Was she not liking what she might have said? Was it the comments? What was it?
Um, I think that she had a different point of view. So when the show first starts, people always think that we gotta have an opposite, or we got an enemy, we got somebody that we gotta attack. That was
Mhm.
never the case. When
Mhm.
the show first started and we was going to the show, I had no idea what type of personality or what type of energy somebody was going to bring to the show. All of
Mhm.
that stuff got developed on the show.
Mhm.
So, um, Tawana just, because she had a different point of view and it wasn't aligned, like I would say me and Anton were more closely aligned, and B Nix and
Mhm.
Tawana was closely aligned. But B Nix had his own views at times, and then Tawana had her own views at times. But
Right.
if we had to pick teams, it was like B Nix and Tawana against me and Anton.
Right.
So I think she felt the burden of having to represent women. And
Mhm.
the conversations that I would have with her was that I don't need you to represent women. I just need you to stand on your own point of view and just live with it. And if the people rock with it, they rock with it. If they don't, they don't. So
Mhm.
that's where I was at. So when we get random text messages, it almost felt like it was these victim text messages,
Mhm.
or these outlandish complaints. And since Anton didn't stay in Chicago, it was just kind of like, I don't really know if I'm gonna come to Chicago because, you know, I don't know where this is going. I don't even know if we're gonna even be this powerhouse group. I don't know if it's, you know, let's wait and see if this how this play out.
So
And
this
so it
was at
was,
the beginning.
yeah, this was at I can't recall the exact time, whether it was the beginning, the
Mhm.
middle. But it was still early on where I wanted us to meet. I wanted us to get dressed up. I wanted us to have a good time. And so the time that we supposed to do it, we really pushed it off. I never told Tawana this, but we wound up pushing it off because I just didn't want that time to come. And then 2 weeks later, Tawana wasn't on the show. Not
Hmm.
because I was going to kick off the show, but because she just, just wasn't unhappy or
So was that a
um,
concern of the stability of Tawana?
it was a concern. Yeah. At the time it was.
Hmm. Okay. Well, she stayed for, I guess, that and continued on the show
Hmm.
with B Nix,
Hmm.
Anton. Then eventually B Nix dropped off.
Yeah. Yeah. B Nix had dropped off. Yeah.
Okay. So why'd he leave?
B Nix was there the whole entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And um, we kind of had an idea of B Nix and who he was, outside of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the direction that B Nix was going in his career, it didn't particularly align with the show. And so he was there mostly to support me and my vision. And
Mm-hmm.
then um, as the show got bigger and bigger, when people were hitting them up saying, "Hey, man, I seen you on this podcast. Hey, I didn't know you had a podcast." And then the things that were happening, because what people don't know is that the show is not scripted. You know, you
Right.
may think things are scripted, but it's not scripted. So you never know what the show is gonna bring on Thursday. Well, we was doing
Mhm.
Wednesday and Thursday. We was all over the place then. We have a set date, but you never know what the show was gonna bring when we went live. So um, I think that with the combination of the image, his career,
Yeah.
and like the popularity of the show, I think it was just he felt it
It
was
started
time.
popping.
Yeah, felt it was
Okay,
time.
so let me track it back real quick because the infinite infamous B Nix and Anton.
Mhm.
I'ma beat your. How did that start and how did you feel being that, B Nix is your homeboy? Did you
Um,
feel a certain type of way about that? Was you like, wait a minute, hold up now. Wait a minute.
I mean, I know at the end of the day, I know just a show. I mean, I know
Yeah.
things that kind of boil over.
Hmm.
Like I know B Nix, but B Nix would always say, Anton, not my homie, that's your homie. And I don't know, bro, because B Nix, and it's the thing. I think he might have told Anton this, but not. But with B Nix, it was more so he didn't know a guy that would like fully be vested, that would fully be willing to give game
Hmm.
without anything in return.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
from like where B Nix is from, from Chicago, it's like, man, where we from, we don't know people like that.
Hmm.
So B Nix is more kind of like, I'm not about to just open my arms to some complete stranger I don't even know. So he was just there for me, and the conversation, whatever however the conversations went, they just went.
Yeah. Well, I
So
think Anton has talked that he still is kind of in conversations with B Nix. Is that true? Do they
oh
still?
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. So
He is,
they have
yeah.
a relationship, kind of.
Yeah, well, later on, B Nix was like, man, he started looking at Anton's videos and seeing
Hmm.
more about him. And then as Anton has been consistent, he was like, Anton is a good dude. So, but before, B Nix had his guards up. And he's just like, man,
Yeah.
that's your guy. Like Jay, I don't know him. I don't know him.
That's all you,
And,
bro.
and one thing, B Nix is that stand up type of guy, man. Like B Nix, once he say something, it is what it is. He
Yeah.
gonna stand on it.
Okay. Well, so then he left. And then it was the dynamic trio.
Yeah, it was the
And
trio.
then you guys had people, guest appearances by Lie, Ashley, I know was on there, other people. Um, why did you decide or what made you think that maybe you needed someone else? Why wasn't it just the three?
We often say often talk about giving flowers, and so I got to give B Nix his flowers, man.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody that I have met yet that is like B Nix, and
Mm,
even on this platform. And there's no offense to anybody on the platform, but B Nix was a special type of talent, and I don't think that he could ever be replaced. I haven't seen anything yet.
right.
So what he brought to the platform was huge. He was supposed to leave like 3 episodes, and I just kept trying to hold him on. And then he was even trying to find his replacement for me, and I was just like, it just wasn't working out. So I remember the moment that he didn't do the show, and it was like, damn, like it was so awkward.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like something was missing. Because you got to think, me, Anton, and Tawana and B Nix, we had built this empire.
Right.
Um, we had actually, I mean, we was in our prime. We was
Yeah, you were.
we was operating on 12 cylinders.
Right.
Not 4, not 6. We was on 12 cylinders, and we was
Yeah.
cooking, man. So for him to leave at that point was like, man, it's getting too big. It's getting is I can't afford to be in this situation, which again I totally understood, but I'm just like, Nick, you can't leave me hanging, man. You can't. So it was just the three of us, man, and me looking at talent and me seeing what works. It's I can't even describe how I view it. I just know that it it wasn't it. We was missing something. It wasn't gonna work. We needed another voice, another input.
Okay. And so you had people, like I said, you person after person. I know that when I was watching the show, and I think, you know, like I said, I was a fan,
Mm.
and I saw people coming in and out, and then I came.
Mm.
So I came. So how did you choose me?
Mm. So I remember I heard you, and the one thing I liked about you was that you was probably the first woman that I heard. Not saying that there wasn't some that was out there, because I see a lot of them in the group um, that understands the message that we try to push, and we pushing and have similar views as you. But you was the first woman that I heard uh, that had a different point of view, that aligned with I want to say men, but it was different. It was different because I've been listening to Tawana like all this time and hearing her view, and then I listened to the views that Ashley would say when she was on the show, and even like miscellaneous people that we had on, and then you was a complete opposite from that. So I think that's what stood out for me, was like, I wanna get on the show. I wanna see if she real, see if she's saying the same stuff. Just hear what she got to say. So it was
Right.
more like I just wanted to get you on the show just to see if you would speak that same talk, because you had some fire on you. I don't know like what was going on, but on that, because you called twice. I think you called back and was like, and another thing. I'm gonna say one more thing, and it was
I
just,
wanted
it
to
was
be
like
heard.
oh, come on with it, man. And I just seen Tawana's face like, just you better get this chick off the damn phone. Like,
Yeah.
she wasn't having it. So that's the reason why I brought you on the show. But to answer your question, like why you, so once you came on the show, it was just like, man, the presentation, the look was there. Um, you was completely different from everybody else. So I felt like it was still taking a chance, because as the show go on, it's kind of like, okay, you do want people with a different perspective, but it was like, I can't really pass this woman up, because I feel like she's a voice for so many other women that's out there.
Yeah.
We had a voice, and that's what I tried to tell Tawana. I didn't feel like Tawana's voice was wrong per se. I just felt like she was a voice for a certain type of group. And one thing that I witnessed by doing this show is that I've seen people learn. So, and I've seen people have different points. I've seen Anton learn. I've seen Anton come in a certain way and have a certain stance about something. And I've seen him like, you know what? I never looked at it like that.
Right.
So I don't really care about if we disagree with each other. Let's just have a conversation. Let's just talk. Let's just see if we could bring our experiences, the things that we've been doing for so many years, the things that we experience within relationships, life in general. Let's bring this all to the table and let's talk. And if we learn some, we learn some. If we all disagree, we disagree. But at the end of the show, we kiss and make up, and we come back again next week and do it all over again. So that's why I felt that you was necessary to be on the show, is because you was a voice for different women.
So I think a lot of people think that I was on the show to be in opposition with her. So was that part of me being on the show because I was completely opposite as far as her ideology?
No, as I said before, like, I didn't think that you was opposite for Tawana. I just thought you spoke to a different circle of women, just like Tawana. And I told Tawana, like, there was a time when I told Tawana off air, like, look, you made a good point. If you just learn how to strengthen your arguments and stand on it and not worried about the backlash where people are, some people might be like, you know what, Tawana made a good point. I didn't think about it like that. So it's all about support to me. And people that know me know that I'm real big on that. If you can support your argument, that's all the people want. Support your argument with examples, with statistics, experiences. If it makes sense, you know, like people not gonna disagree with you. People don't disagree with you when you say something and then you don't have nothing to back it up. It's like, well, I don't know, and I'm not gonna even have a further conversation. And it's like, you know what? You're full of shit. You know, you just so that's what. To answer your question, no, you was not the opposition. I just thought Tawana spoke to a different type of women, spoke to a different group of women, and you spoke to a different group of women.
Well, I only did a couple shows with her, so we weren't really together that long. And then it blew up. The infamous Anton, you a BAN. And I literally was on the show like, what is going on? And I know the viewers was like, what is happening? It just seemed to erupt so big. And I didn't understand, or maybe I didn't know the build up. So was there a build up to that? Like, how did it go from that? I was on the show for, 2 episodes, I think, with her maybe. And then all of a sudden it's this whole thing where Tawana and her now husband came on. How that happen? What happened? Why did it happen? I need to know. And it's something that we don't know in the background because, Anton had a show about it. And he he showed some receipts.
So
I'm going to ask you the questions now.
Okay, you can ask the questions. I mean, I only know so much. You know, it's I don't know everything, but
okay. Well, I want to talk about the buildup of how that happened, but then I also want you to speak about, because on his show, he specifically said that he was in Chicago a lot. And her husband was watching the kids while they was out hanging out.
I don't know anything about that.
Okay, well, that's what
I don't know anything about that. I mean,
okay.
I know what Anton was in Chicago when we
were y'all all hanging out?
When we all hung out.
Okay.
So if there's anything else going on, I can't honestly say.
So what's the buildup though? How did?
I mean, there was I know that there were conversations that were being had. And again, I don't know every conversation that was had. I don't know if he came to Chicago and I didn't know. I don't know those things. All I know is that there were conversations that were had. I don't know what happened.
What was the
I don't
conversations that
know.
were had though? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I mean, just conversations that was had. I mean, I can. What I do know is that it seemed like she was intrigued by. She wanted to know more about Anton's wife, so I think she watched a lot of his videos to figure more out about his wife.
Why?
I don't know. Who she was. Why? I don't know. I just know that she was intrigued by something about him. She was intrigued, and she wanted to know the ins and outs about him. So she watched his videos.
Okay.
But I mean, but she admittedly said that though, so it
She
wasn't
was
like,
in, yeah, 'cause
yeah,
she was intrigued
yeah,
by Anton.
yeah. She said
And
that she won. Yeah, I watched all the videos, so I mean, that was just something that she said, and I think she put it out there in public.
so she was a fan?
I don't know if she was a fan. I just know that she watched the videos. I know that she wanted to know who his wife was and more about her.
Why?
I don't know. That's
You
a
never,
question.
no one asked?
I
You
didn't.
never was
I'm
like, "Why
just
you wanna
This
know
is
about his wife?"
information that I just heard from her, and she said it on the show. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, that's all I know about that.
Well, all right then. Okay. So, do you think that has something to do with the buildup of what happened on that episode?
I think whatever conversations were being had.
Mhm.
Um, Again, I didn't see much of the conversations, but I just know conversations were had, and I believe it's a combination of that. I mean, if I had to guess, um, I mean, some of the messages that we preach and we talk about are real.
Yeah.
Um, they real. They real.
Mhm. Hmm.
So if you go back to some of our videos, you can probably put your own story together. What may and may not have happened. What possibly led up to that moment, or possibly not.
Mhm.
I don't know facts. The only facts that I know is that she watched a lot of videos about him and she had the conversations. So that's all I know.
Okay.
I don't know anything else.
Okay.
I don't know anything else.
So, but that was the last show that she was on.
Mhm.
Um, so assumingly like she's not with the network at all no more, or is there a chance that she could come back?
Um, she currently she currently mentioned that she was thinking about not being on the show. She felt like her voice wasn't heard. So
Mhm.
that was prior to this happening. And I just encouraged her, that she did have a voice. And even B Nix was in the background encouraging her because, at the end of the day, I still wanted her to win. I don't have anything personally against her.
Yeah.
Um,
I did
she,
too, on the
yeah,
show.
yeah,
Yeah, I had a whole spiel telling her, like, how important she is, and I
yeah, I remember
think she
that.
is.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So, um, again, I don't get into people's personal lives. That's just
Mhm.
information that you asked me the question, and just information that came across me at one point in time, and that's all I know. But her personally, as far as the show, I think she was great, and I just was about growing. We all had to grow. People
Yeah.
tell me I don't talk enough, so it's like I'm making sure that I talk more. That's more of me growing.
Mhm.
And I've had off the air conversations about other folks, growing where they need to grow at, or
Yeah.
maybe suggestions. It's not nothing personal. It's just like I feel like, including myself,
Mhm.
that we can all do better. There's always room for growth.
I agree.
And again, include myself. I'm not exempt from it. I could be a better leader. I could be a better. I don't like this moderator role because I didn't sign up for it, but people say you're the moderator, so I'm like, whatever it is, what it is. I'll let y'all choose what
Mhm.
I am, but I could be a better moderator. I could have better topics.
Yeah.
I could have better people on. It's always room for growth, like as I said. So I always rooted for her to be able to thrive, and I was trying to give her all the necessary tools that she needed in order to grow. But when you deal with people, sometimes people can handle it or they can't handle it.
Yeah.
And one thing that I'm not gonna do is, if you don't want to be here, I'm not gonna force you to be here.
Mhm.
But if you want to be here, then guess what? The team gonna rock with you 1,000%, and that's what we all try to support her as far as making sure that she will be successful on Lapeef. Let's talk.
Mhm. Okay.
But you also asked me it's a possibility. I've had conversations with people. So if she ever wanted to come back, like I don't know on the show, but possibly if she wanted to do something with somebody else or something like that, like we can talk. I'm always open to having conversations about seeing if it fit, if it's right. We can make it happen. But
Yeah.
I haven't had a conversation with her like since then.
Mm.
She's removed everybody that she felt um wasn't a positive a, a positive I'm trying to say,
Influence
yeah,
in her life.
influence necessary in her life. She removed everybody. So
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is. I have nothing personally against her. We can talk whenever she want to talk.
Okay. So then in comes Chicago Rilla, and then you got KA.
Mhm.
Where they come from?
So
And what
Chicago,
yeah, and why
yeah.
are they on the show?
So Chicago Rilla was he would call in faithfully, like every show, man.
Mm-hmm.
His energy, his personality, what he had to say. It was always on point, was almost much needed, man. So that stood out. And had a conversation. He's a very intelligent brother. He's a good dude.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I rock with him. He fully supported me and like the Lapeef Let's Talk movement. Like
Mm-hmm.
without even he was supporting me just because I was home turf. I was Chicago. He from Chicago. So um I brought him on the show one time and I liked his energy, man. And I brought him back again. So usually like when people come on, man, and I've, it's crazy because it's similar to you. You called in and then I kind of, like what you guys were saying, and then I brought you guys on, and then you guys are part of the network now. So
Mm-hmm.
he's just a good dude, man, and I just like what he brought to the table. I like his perspectives on life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just like say it's all good.
Yeah. And then K.
Kay. Kay's very intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
We all may not get her, but she is very intelligent. I do like her. I feel like she speaks to a certain group. May not be a big group, but I feel like she speaks to a different group of people. May not be women in particular, but just people in general. So, um, you guys may not be fans of her show now, but I do think that as time goes on,
Mm-hmm.
that you will hear something different from her. I'm rooting for her
Mm-hmm.
and her growth. I want her to be authentic and be herself always. So that's one thing I like about Kay is that she gonna be Kay regardless. So anybody that's gonna be down, no matter what nobody says, you can't do nothing but respect that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I like about Kay. But yeah, Kay's very intelligent, and I think she's gonna blow y'all mind.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be now, you may not see it, but just give it a little time.
Okay. So me and her have our own separate shows. What made you deem that we could do our own separate shows? Like, where'd that come from?
Um, so you guys faithfully been on the show,
Mm-hmm.
and from the moment that I saw you, I knew that you was a star. So, um,
Don't be trying to gas me up.
no, I'm not
'Cause
gassing you up.
I'm gassable at the moment.
Nah, it's cool. It's the moment, yeah, the moment that I saw you, I knew that you was a star, and I knew that you needed to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wanted to make sure that I poured into you. I wanted to make sure that I gave you the opportunity.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that the way your life was, it wasn't going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Courtney Michelle show,
Renaissance Belle.
you got it. That's it.
Yeah.
As far as Kay, I felt that she was different from you.
Completely different.
Completely different. Yeah.
Yes.
So, there's the balance. I understand our audience is who they are. But when I had the network in mind, I didn't want everybody to be preaching the same thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wanted to tap in to a different audience.
Mm.
And so there's Kay.
That's
You
good.
know, she may not be talking about relationships and she may be talking about other things, and I'm cool with it. So I just wanted to try to see if we can tap into a different crowd.
So, what else do you have for the network? Who else getting the show?
I don't know. That's to be determined. I have so
Okay.
many emails and so many people reaching out to me. People that have ideas and suggestions
Hmm.
for the shows. It's just nonstop. And
Do you like those when people send you suggestions, or it's like, all right, calm down. I got my own ideas.
I open up every email.
Yeah.
Every email is not warranted a response, and it's not because um, your approach is everything.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that I liked about Ariel, which is a former
My darling.
WNBA player,
That's my darling.
yeah,
Yeah.
very beautiful woman,
Gorgeous.
former WNBA player. One
Mm-hmm.
thing that stood out about her was her presentation. She had a formal email. She even
Mm-hmm.
sent me a resume.
Did she?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, it was
She's so
impressive.
regal. Like she has her presence is,
Hmm.
yeah, it's just something about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that stood out to me. But when I'm getting emails about, I think my husband would be a great asset on your show, and I had some ideas. You need to do this and do that.
Mm-hmm.
Them are the things I kind of look at, because then you see so many of them. It's just be like,
Mm-hmm.
okay. But so if you want to get my attention, um, and there's no disrespect, I just think it's just this any and every way. This is like a life lesson. You got to stand out from the crowd.
Yeah.
And that's the vision that I have for Lapeef, the Lapeef Network. We got to stand out from the crowd from the rest of everybody else.
So what do you think makes our show different than what you see? And do you consider yourself in the manosphere?
Hmm. To be honest, I just have conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I don't gear everything towards like the manosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And I often say this, you don't choose the audience choose you. And so I believe the audience have chose us. And I'm cool with it,
Mm-hmm.
and what I do is I look to see what our audience is, and I cater to the audience. I cater to the people that support us, to our fans. But every now and then I do branch off a little bit. And that's just because it's still a lot of people. Let's talk. We're gonna have conversations that you guys may not like. And if you don't like it, then you learn to like it. And if you don't learn to like it, then guess what? You just don't like it for that week. And that's fine. But we're gonna be we're gonna tap into a little bit of some of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna try to get real deep, but deep where we can still, well, like YouTube won't flag us for it, but we're gonna still get deep.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some tears, we're gonna have some yelling, we're gonna have some kumbaya moments. You
Mm-hmm.
just never know what you're gonna get with the Lapeef Network.
Every week, our show, when I tell you, I don't know what is about to bring. Like we laugh, we get upset, we battle, we joke. Like it's a whole bunch of emotions every single week, and I can appreciate it because even being on the show, I don't even know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can have what we're going to say, but every single week it's something completely new, and I think that's what makes us good because it's authentic.
Yeah, it is.
And well, well, let me ask you about this because who we always having chime in is the Godfather,
Mm-hmm.
and he don't do that to regular podcasts. He'll chime in on us, fresh and fit, one in a few. Why you think he comes to our show?
First of all, shout out to Kevin Samuels. I
Shout out.
definitely appreciate him. what
Mhm.
he's doing for the whole YouTube, the whole world. His name is everywhere.
Mhm.
So we appreciate that. And I definitely 1000%, 10 toes down in my real voice. I appreciate him,
Thriller, 10 toes down.
right, for constantly rocking with the Lapeef Network, in
Mhm.
particular, Lapeef Let's Talk.
Yes.
Um, it kind of took me by surprise. I mean, I remember the first time he entered the chat. Entered the chat, and I seen people saying, "Man, the Godfather, Kevin Samuels in the
Mhm.
chats." So it kind of took me by surprise when I saw him in there. Why do I think he's in there? I think that we are different.
Mhm.
It was hard for me to really, because I'm humble and I just stay focused. So I don't consider myself no celebrity. I don't consider my platform as doing big. I always dumb it down. And I had conversations with you and a lot of other people. I'm just doing the work.
Yeah.
I don't really pay attention to it as I don't care if we got 100,000 subscribers. It is what it is. It's just that I'm just gonna do the work.
Mhm.
I'm gonna continue to give the people what they want. I'm gonna continue to try to be different. It's a combination of men and women. I think that's one of
Yeah.
the dynamics that make us so great. And then like the perspectives, like the talent that's on there. It's different. It's different.
Yeah.
The conversations that we having are different. So I think that anybody, and I have people that reached out to me outside of Kevin Samuels that been like, man, you got a great show. And
Mhm.
they up there too. So
Mhm.
I just think that we authentic. It's not scripted. We're real passionate. And the main thing is that we consistent. We
Yeah.
consistent every week. Rain or snow, rain or shine. I don't care if we
Ooh,
out of town. I don't care if the
doing it.
internet is messed up. We there. We
That is true.
right. And
That's true.
we
We be out of town. We had that P-Ray service.
yeah. Yeah. And we show up, man. And I think that the people can appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Especially, I set that time. We every Thursday we go live 7:30 Central Time,
Not missing a
CST.
beat. Yeah.
You know,
So, where do you see this going in, do I say 3 years?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years, we on top of the world. 3 years, everybody gonna know what Lapeef is.
Yeah.
3 years from now, it's gonna be some major milestones, man.
Mhm.
I didn't want to be a podcast. I wanted to be a show. I
So,
wanted people
yeah.
to they come in. It's like going to the movies. That's why I say get your popcorn ready because it's gonna
Yeah.
be a show. It's gonna
It
be a
is.
show, man. It's a show.
Yeah.
Every every
Mm.
Thursday is our season.
Yeah. It is a
Yeah.
show. And like I said, because when we record, I play it back. So I do watch it back because, you know, in the moment, sometimes you say some stuff and I look back, I'm like, man, I wish I could have said this. Wish I could have said that.
Mhm.
But I watch it back and I thoroughly enjoy it. Like it is a show. So I
Yeah.
do.
That's
So is there
love.
something that you wish you should have, could have, would have done thus far?
Something that I wish I should have, could have. Just wish I was going harder.
Mm.
Wish I was going harder, man.
Mhm.
I'm so critical on myself again. I don't. I think that we're just okay right now. Even though I have high hopes from us, I just always stay in that mindset that we can do better. I can
Mhm.
do better. I can go harder. So if there's anything that I wish I should have could do, it just going harder.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I feel it. So I don't know. I'm going to give you flowers.
Appreciate
Um,
it.
I didn't know what to expect, and you gave me an opportunity. You saw something in me that honestly I didn't even see in myself.
Mhm.
still trying to see it, honestly, but
You
you
got it.
do. Um, you've been there whenever I need something or, advice. I call you and you give it to me. You're completely honest with me, and I truly appreciate you. I think you're an amazing leader. I think that you have something special, and I'm completely honored to be on this network with you. To if I can make it even more special, I definitely am because I believe in you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I give you your flowers, Lapeef.
I appreciate it,
I
Courtney
think you're
Michelle.
amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I ain't got nothing else to say to you. I didn't talk to you for too long.
I don't care.
Right. So unless you have anything else to say to the people, we can conclude. We should have probably did this live. I really think I really think that's my voice. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we go, what is something that people think of you that's not true?
Something that people think of me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that I'm quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. People think I'm quiet, but
Not at all.
I talk your ear off.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. I'm funny, but when it comes time to get business, I'm
In business that he
yeah.
don't care. He's yeah. I
Yeah.
think yeah, and I would say that I don't think people know. Like you're definitely not quiet. You do talk a lot.
Yeah.
That's fine. But you're comical, like you're funny. And every time I, randomly talk to you, you always make me laugh. And I don't think people know that about you. So I am looking forward to the future of you coming out more on the show. I know you're speaking up a lot more than before, but showing who you are. I think people will be surprised, but
So I
who
always
you
make you
are.
laugh.
Well, I'll be laughing at you.
Oh, okay.
I don't care.
All right. No, you do make me laugh. I'm laughing now. What you do? Oh God.
Watch out now, Courtney.
Oh, hey.
You turning red over there?
I-
You turning maroon over there? A little burgundy?
oh God.
That's that.
Okay.
That's that light 10. That's ice
I'm
cream.
over you. Anyways, you do make me laugh. I enjoy you. And all right. Don't do that sound again.
What sound?
That one. So, all right. Well, it's been a pleasure. And took us down memory lane.
Yeah, I did.
And I'm just, like I said, I'm just excited to see where this goes. And I'm just happy to be on the train with you. So thank you.
All right. Well, I appreciate you for having me on your show. It's a great show. I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
I kind of never know what I'm gonna get, man. So every time I see a video upload, I'm like, okay, I
Me
see Courtney.
too.
I see Courtney.
I never know either because I'm like, oh snap now. What?
Oh, really?
Really?
That's what's up.
All right. Now we're just being silly.
What?
All right. Yeah, we are. People don't probably want to see that. I don't care. I don't care if y'all listen. Look at me. I don't care.
He don't
Y'all want to
care.
see this. This is humor. This is funny to me. May not
Well,
be funny to
he's
y'all,
funny.
but it's funny to
Well,
me.
look, Anton said we should have our own show
Oh,
because
that's
I
a
don't know, like
possibility.
when I talk to you, like we be joking on each other. I always joke on you.
He did say that.
You're
Yeah.
easy. Yeah, I really like joking on you.
Yeah. That's something to think about. Let me think about that one. You never know what you're gonna get on a Lapeef Network. You never know what you're
I
gonna
mean,
get.
we could take this on the road, JR.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, no, I was
What? Huh? No,
oh
what
no.
happened?
Mm.
All right, Courtney. You laugh a little bit too damn hard, ain't you? So don't fart now.
I do be gassy sometimes, but it ain't got nothing to do with what I'm laughing at. Quit with them People. All right now.
All right, but yeah, again, I appreciate you for having me on your show, the Courtney Michelle Show. It's definitely evolving, man, and something special out there. People love it.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.